Good. Let's start this off a little hot. So in the last year, I've lost 150 pounds. That's a real stat. I cheated. I didn't diet or exercise. I got the surgery. You guys know what I'm talking about? I got the surgery. But one of the things they don't tell you is that you lose a lot of weight, but you gain body parts. So I don't know how to describe it to you guys. But my dick now has this travel neck pillow like what you see at the airport. Somebody said, let's see it. See me after the show. My wife's super happy I'm healthy, but she's not stoked about that. And I'm like, baby, it's okay. It's a place for you to rest your head if you get tired. It'll be fine. I've lost 150 pounds, and I'm still what's known as class 1 obese. Isn't that some bullshit? So I had to look up what I was. Apparently I was class 3 obese. I had a black belt in being a fat ass. I was so good, I was training other fat people how to be fat. It's like Grasshopper. When you're ready, you can snatch the cupcake from my hand. But usually they couldn't because I had already eaten it. I complain about it, but it's got a couple of perks. Like women, have you ever kept money safe? You've tucked it in a bra or under a breast, right? So now when I'm walking through a bad neighborhood, I just take my wallet out and tuck it in my dick pillow because I know nobody's gonna go looking in there. When you lose this much weight, people tell you you're on a weight loss journey. Have we heard that? That's the most bullshit statement, right? The journey was the fun bit. The journey was eating and drinking whatever I wanted and getting over 400 pounds. That was the journey. Like, I'm in rehab now. Like, everyone's got their addictions. Mine was food. I ate Little Debbie like it was her wedding night. Ladies normally like that one. I've been happily married for over a decade, and I just lost 150 pounds. I'll let you guys figure that out. We'll switch it up a little bit. That's fine. So you guys know I'm married. My wife and I. Have we heard the term dinks? We know that term, double income, no kids, right? My wife and I are dicks. Double income, couple of kids. That's the one I'm trying to start. Is that we think that'll fit? We have a 9-year-old daughter. My 9-year-old daughter, Eleanor. Her favorite television show, I'm not making this up, her favorite television show is Judge Judy. Loves it, watches it every day. And at first I was a little worried. I asked my wife, I was like, shouldn't she be watching some kids shows? And my wife's like, watch this. Eleanor, what was the lesson from the last case? Without missing a beat, my daughter goes, don't lend boyfriends money. I had no idea Judge Judy was a kids show. Shit, I had G.I. Joe telling me to look out for strangers and Captain Planet teaching me to recycle, and she's got Judge Judy saying look out for bums, right? Like it's a good mix. The school called the other day, and they were like, Mr. Jenkins, we'd like to test your daughter for autism. Nope, she's in the front room watching Judge Judy. She has it. We're good. Let's save the taxpayers their money and just get her the help she needs, right? Like let's And I should have known my daughter was going to be autistic because my wife and I we both have a little sprinkle, right? You know, just a little Mrs. Dash will do you of the tism, right? And it runs in my family. It's all throughout my family, right? And usually you can see it in the eyes. I mean, I've got a nephew that unicycles. You don't need to see his eyes. That's like, there goes one. Having autism myself and raising a kid with autism, it's really not a big deal, right? It's a lot like having an unbalanced washing machine, right? Like, as long as you don't overload them, they're fine. soon as you give them one too many things, start to see some shaking and some weird noises, and you're like, oh shit, okay, let's rebalance this and like try to figure it out, right? Cool. So now that I'm raising a kid with autism, I read tons of articles about it, right? And I read this article, and the crux of this article, they were arguing that 300 years ago, autism didn't exist, and specifically for women. It's like, look, I'm sorry, crocheting by yourself by the firelight seems pretty fucking autistic to me. Right, even those phrases, a stitch in time saves 9, that's a tick, right? That's an autistic tick. That's not a... Cool. I like that. We'll switch it up. We'll talk about my childhood for a minute. Does anybody have a smell that reminds them of home? Like you smell laundry or cookies or anything, it just takes you back home? Anybody? Somebody said wings. Somebody said wings. Oh, wings or cookies. That was a good one. Mine's Salem Light cigarettes. That's... a great menthol, and I'm right back in my childhood, right? My dad used to smoke Cools, but then he started making an extra 35 cents an hour and felt like the best place for that money to go was to upgrade to Salem Lights. You guys know what I mean? My dad used to drink a beer they don't make anymore. He used to drink Schaefer beers. Anybody ever heard of it? Schaefer beer's actual slogan back in the day was, the best beer for when you're having more than one. That was a real slogan. So as you guys guess how I grew up, I'm half white trash, half whiter trash. You know, the kind of family that plays the Powerball while the water's getting turned off, you know? 4 cars and a washing machine out front, none of them work. Very meth adjacent. By that I mean the trailer next door. Very meth adjacent. Guy named Cricket in our park can get you whatever you want. Cool. So even though I grew up white trash, I got lucky in my 20s. I got to live abroad. I lived abroad for about a decade, and one of the things I learned when I lived and worked abroad is that not all things between all cultures translate. I'll give you guys some examples. My British and Australian friends, they had this phrase for we're not here to mess around. They would say, we're not here to fuck spiders. It's a real phrase you can look up later, we're not here to fuck spiders. And it really got me thinking, I mean, we can all agree, Charlotte from Charlotte's Web is super hot, right? Like, I'm not the only one. Right? And if you're a leg guy, I mean, how do you beat a deal like that? And y'all saw the end of the movie, right, where the kids fly away? So we know she's a single mom, so we know she's good to go, right? Like, that's fucking good. My Swedish friends, they had this phrase for who made this mistake. They would say, who shit in the blue kitchen cabinet? This is a phrase which is supposed to mean who made this mistake. If you're shitting in the kitchen cabinets, that's premeditated, right? And are we talking under the cupboard, or did you climb up and get it on the good china? Like, what are we doing? My Norwegian friends, they have this phrase. We've heard that when we're sick, I've got a frog in my throat, right? We've heard that. Well, they have a very similar phrase, but they say they have a rooster in their throat. No extra credit for getting ahead of the class. So they translate it to you in Old English. I'm walking through the office one day, sipping my coffee, and a young lady goes, I can hardly talk today. I have a cock in my throat. Spit my coffee out, I ran down to HR, I was like, I don't know what's going on in accounts payable, I'm not part of this, I need this job. Like, let's, So I'll leave you guys on this. I grew up in a big family, being poor. You tip that Venn diagram tends to overlap. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. It always got me thinking like what group sex in the trailer park was called. I've landed on porgy. Porgy, anybody? Cool. My brother right above me, we've had a wonderful time. Nobody tense up on me. My brother right above me is my brother Hank. My brother Hank's in a wheelchair. Totally normal guy. He's married with kids, just doesn't stand up, right? That's how wheelchairs work. But my brother Hank was on the men's Paralympic basketball team. Do we know the Paralympics? Yeah. Right? The one for the physical handicaps, not the one. That one's a different category, right? So we grew up in Texas. So he got to meet his childhood basketball icon, all 7 feet tall, Houston Rockets center Hakeem Adream Olajuwon. Do you remember him? So I don't know what you guys' 1996 Christmas card looks like, but ours is pretty epic. It's all 7 feet tall, Hakeem Olajuwon, and those skin-tight 1996 basketball shorts, and my 14-year-old brother in his wheelchair leaning over for a hug, just... We still trade that photo to this day. Thank you guys, that's been my time.